Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue en notre classe. Ça c'est notre classe finale sur ce sujet. Everyone, welcome to today's final um, class on the topic of how to describe yourself, someone, or something. If you hadn't had a look at previous topics or previous parts on this topic, you might want to check out the part one and part two of it because this is the third part and final part on this particular topic. All right. So quickly scroll back to previous videos on this topic, the part one and two of it. All right. So let's dive straight into this third part. And over here, we'll be looking at possessive. Sorry, yeah. Over here, we're going to be looking at possessive nouns. Okay. How we say it in English is, for example, when you want to talk about something for yourself, you say my or mine, right? But in French, it's broken down into several parts. There's the masculine, there's feminine, singular, and there's a plural of it. And so, if you have a look at the screen, you see on the far left-hand side, you see my, your, his, hers, our, your, and theirs. Okay, but in French, these are differentiated into masculine and feminine and plural, and it is important to take note of this because sometimes you would, well, not sometimes, but actually all the time, you would need to use the appropriate possessive noun um, when making a sentence or describing something, someone. Okay, so I'll just guide you through the pronunciations of some of them. So, for example, anything that has to do with my or mine would be for masculine, mo, feminine is ma, plural of that would be me. Yours, which is more informal, uh, masculine is ton, feminine ta, and plural te. Now, anything that has to do with his, her, or its, you can say for the masculine son, feminine sa, the plural se. Now, our um, maintains itself for both the masculine and feminine, and that would be simply notre. But plural of that is no. As you notice that already that in French, the last word, sorry, the last letter is usually silent. So it's not nos, but no. And when you're talking about addressing someone formally or someone who is much older than you, then you use, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, and I keep on repeating, you use vous or votre in this sense. So a possessive noun here would be votre, right, for both masculine and feminine, and the plural vos. Now, when you're talking about their or theirs, right, you can say the masculine and feminine of that is simply le, right, pronounced as le, and the plural of that is also le, but with an s. All right. So simply take note of that. You can keep on practicing uh, these and become more confident. But like I mentioned earlier, the more you engage with French content, the easier things will be, for everyone. Now, this is just a list now of we're looking at family and different how pronounce different members of the family in French. Okay, I'll go through them as quickly as possible for you. So yeah, um, man is homme, woman femme, girl fille, boy garçon, father père, mother mère, grandfather grandpère, grandmother grandmère, cousin is cousin. There's a slight error there. It's not the dollar sign that's supposed to be. There's supposed to be an brackets e. Okay, so if it's feminine, if the person is feminine, then the last letter after n will be e. Okay, for cousin, right? So that will be cousin without an e for male, and cousine with an e for female. Sister is sir, brother frère, auntie tante or tanti, baby is bébé, nephew is neveu, and niece is niece. Okay. Now let's have a look at directions. Okay. North is nord, south sud, west is west, east is l'est, on the right is à droite, on the left is à gauche, straight ahead will be tout droite, up is en haut, down en bas, beside à côté, on sur, near is près, below is au-dessus de or sous. Okay, these are just some direction words in French. Just like we also have some some um, family words. There are others that will come in there. Like my great aunt and that kind of stuff. My stepbrothers and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the more you engage with French content, then you discover a lot more. So just giving you snippets of it. Now let's head over to the weather. Okay. So for cold weather, you say froid. For hot is chaud. And the weather generally is referred to as la météo, or sometimes you can say le temps. When it's windy, say venteux. When it's snowy, say neigeux. When it's cloudy, nuageux. Okay, I know that those two sound a bit similar. Sometimes I make a mistake as well. But snowy is neigeux, cloudy, nuageux, or nuageuse. The dry season, like you sometimes have in tropical climates like Africa, in there's an African continent, would be saison sèche. Rainy season would be saison de pluie. Winter, l'hiver. Spring, printemps. Summer, l'été. Autumn, l'automne. Flood or flooding would be inondé or inondation. And a thunderstorm is orange, right? Now, something to really note about when you're talking about the weather here is that yes, the key word here is that is simply se, but when you're not trying to describe it as, for example, the weather is cold, it is cold, you would rather use the following words, okay? Il fait. Il fait froid, il fait chaud, il fait beau, il pleut, il neige, and so on and so on, right? You wouldn't necessarily say, except for situations like say nuageux, that is, it's cloudy, okay? But so there are little nuances in there which you might want to take note of while engaging in French contemporary reading, okay? Now, we're almost at the end of it all for this topic, and these are some words in English, okay? I Initially I wasn't going to give you the answers to them, but you can have a look at them quickly and try to write them out from what you've learned so far in lessons or lessons of sorry, the part one, two, and now three on this topic, how to describe. You can now start practicing how to write these sentences in French. Okay. Now, once you're done, then you can skip to the final part where you can see the answers for each of them. So take some time, pause the video, and start practicing. You know, don't worry, don't worry about errors. All right. So here we are. The answers to the earlier question or the earlier sentences on how to write these words in French. Okay. So my cousin is big. I can simply say mon cousin est grand, or my grand cousin, my grand cousine, my cousine grand. So then you notice that some of these are already masculine and feminine. The first one is feminine, the other one is masculine. Then you have also my grandparents live here. Mes grands-parents habitent ici. The weather is cold would be le temps est froid or il fait froid. My bag is green will be mon sac est vert. The shop is on the right would be la boutique or le magasin est à droite. The park is straight ahead would be le parc est à tout droite. Um, the four seasons of the year, this would be definitely not relating to an African weather, so to say, non-tropical weather. So the four seasons of the year are summer, autumn, winter, and spring. And in French, that would be les quatre saisons de l'année sont l'été, l'automne, l'hiver, et printemps. As always, this will take some practice, but don't be discouraged to, revise, um, look up on French content online by watching, reading, and yeah, you definitely do well, and don't forget also to practice with your friends. Okay, donc d'ici, c'est au revoir et à la prochaine. So see you in the next class. Just keep practicing, and don't get discouraged. If you have any questions, in the comment section below, or you know, type in your questions, or you can send in an email, and definitely get a response to all of this. And if you haven't subscribed so far, click that bell notification, like this video, and subscribe as well. So à bientôt et on se verra. À tout à l'heure tout le monde. Au revoir.